the Women Unleashed podcast. Join us as we share with you the confronting, fun, wild, fucked up, epic, and raw side of being a woman in today's world.
Come along on our journey as we dive deeply into what makes us tick and how we create our lives. Nothing is off limits. Welcome back to the Women Unleashed podcast. I am your co-host, Britt.
And Taylor.
And today, in this week's episode, we are going to have a discussion about responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility.
What's really great, Taylor, is even your reaction to the word responsibility tells me that we have different contexts or perspectives on responsibility.
Yep, 100%. I think it's most people have a different connotation to what responsibility really does mean to them as well.
Yeah. And this is just such a great example of where in life everybody takes something, call it a word, and in this case responsibility, and then applies their own meaning to it, which could be based on like their past experiences or something like that.
Society, what the rules are.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. I think everything's taken, it's your own experience on everything.
Yeah.
Every word, every situation, everything.
And I think it brings real clarity to that statement that context is decisive. Or meaning, the meaning you put behind something is decisive. It's the way you react to things. Now, Taylor, why did you want to talk about responsibility today?
Because I think in the last couple of months, through doing a course actually with Landmark and just in my life, I've looked at what responsibility does mean. And I think, like you said, it comes in different forms for different people. And I think my reaction initially is a negative, like it's a negative thing to be
like,
responsible.
Ooh, I don't want to be responsible.
Yeah, like fuck that.
Yeah.
Right? But I guess when I actually look at it and break it down and what it really means, apart from that initial reaction, is looking at the power responsibility can provide you and does give to you when you take it on in a way that removes the blame and the shame and the guilt. And I wanted to talk about that because it feels at the moment it's happening at like it's really strong. It's really like in
really
my
relevant
face.
to you right now. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Britt. I'm looking for the word. Like it's just not coming.
You saved me.
Yeah, thanks.
You don't need saving, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
But it's just, it seems very, relevant and like in my face right now about being responsible.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, let's dive on into it. I too had a really negative context for responsibility of being responsible. And that was because I too thought that the only time people like were responsible was when something went wrong.
Yes.
And there was someone to blame.
Yeah, I agree. I have to say I like can totally get where that comes from, and I think I've had the same.
So when people would tell me, Britt, you're not being responsible for your life, I'll just be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong?
Yeah, what's wrong? Yeah, what is wrong? I don't get what you're talking. Like, what's wrong? You know. So what actually changed my perspective on the word responsible? So I'm just making sure I get good audio here. Is the definition? There we go. And there's two definitions, right? That when you Google it, like there's probably heaps in the world, and just bear in mind, these definitions are also someone's perspective on what responsibility means. So the first one says, the state or fact of having a duty to deal with something or of having control over someone. And the example for that is a true leader takes responsibility for their team and helps them achieve their goals. When I read that, like, my whole context for responsibility flipped on its head. And I went, oh my gosh, if I'm responsible for it all, that means I get to be responsible for winning as well as not winning.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Yeah. And then I was like, give me responsibility. Like, bring it on. I'm happy to be responsible.
I will take it.
Yeah, bring it on. So now my relationship to responsibility, it's still, like, sometimes the old thing comes up with like, oh, I don't want to get blamed. But then I just go, oh, no, hang on. Like, being responsible means I get to have it all, which is really cool for me.
And really, like, that definition provides power too, right?
Yeah,
having
definitely.
a duty to deal with something or having control.
Yes, yeah. And I think we'll touch on, after we cover this second definition, the context that you choose and whether or not they serve you or not.
Yeah, perfect.
And the second definition is the state or fact of being accountable or to blame for something, right? So that definition is almost a little bit opposite to the first one, which is like, well, being responsible means you're to blame. When, okay, you can take that meaning, but does it give you power in your life? Do you always want to be blamed for stuff?
No. No, it doesn't. It doesn't give you power. It doesn't make you feel empowered. There's no powerful context around that second definition. And, you know, they're using words, like similar words here: blame, fault, and guilt. No one would want to take responsibility if they're just being blamed for everything, or there's that negative kind of spin on it. Yeah, no one would want to relate to themselves as responsible if responsible, the context or the meaning of responsible meant you're the one that cleans up the mess. Yeah, you're the ones to blame. Yeah, or like you know, like a bad person. There's like a bit of like, you're bad. Yeah, something you could go bad, something wrong. If you really want to get, I guess, keep going with what you could make it mean. There's that too. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we wanted to start today, was really highlighting the stark difference in meanings of what responsibility means out there in the world, and the power that it's given me by choosing the context or the meaning that I get to be responsible for it all. Yeah. Means I get to celebrate my wins. Yes. I caused it. Yeah. Super cool. Yeah. And it's also, I think, cool in knowing that you have the power to make it different or make a change because you're responsible. Yeah. So you have the, ability to change the situation or transform it, or however you want to word it, but you have the ability to make it different. Yes. When you relate to yourself as being responsible, then there's like this new opening for you to go, okay, well, if I'm going to have this win and be responsible for that, what am I willing to do? So, Taylor, where in your life, like, recently has this shown up? And or where have you put it into practice and it's worked or it hasn't worked? Yeah, so I separated from a partner last year, and we'd been together for nearly 5 years, so a long time. We'd known each other a long time, nearly 7 years in total. So, it's a big relationship. Yeah, and we're both 28, right? I'm 28. So yeah, that's all of your 20s. Yeah. And it was good. Like, obviously it didn't work, but like, there's no like anger or anything like that around it. But obviously there was blame and shame and guilt around that relationship, blaming myself for things, blaming him for things, all of that kind of world.
And to get it really clear for everyone listening, like, was the blame, shame and the guilt, was some of all of that happening during the relationship or after it ended, or both?
Both. So, during it, I would blame him for things that happened and the way things were, and I blame myself too and be, I didn't step up to the plate here, I didn't do this right, or, this is where it fucking went wrong, basically. And then after the relationship, I would reflect back and do the same.
Yeah.
Like, what was the turning point to make this all blow up?
Yeah, and like, where was it something that he did as to why it went wrong?
Yeah. I just wanted to put fault and blame, like, have a reason and have it also probably not be my fault that it ended. I didn't want to have to be responsible for my part or any of it, I guess, if I look back now.
Yeah.
And when I did this course and understood what responsibility in a different context to how I had been seeing it, I really got that, like, I am responsible for that relationship and I am responsible for it ending, and I'm 100% responsible. But I don't say that in like, it's my fault or I ruined everything or anything. Like, it's not in a bad way or something's wrong. It's just like, I was in that relationship too. And
like, it takes two to tango.
Yeah. And I had the power to cause things to happen or to not happen. So it is all, I'm 100% responsible.
It's all you.
Yeah, it's all me.
It's all you. Yeah. So, like, share with us, what were some of the things that you weren't willing to take responsibility for and then just saw, I had a part, like, I had a part in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably around money. There wasn't a great relationship around money. And I would put blame on him for having the bad relationship.
Yeah.
With money.
But for you both having a bad relationship with money, or?
No, more probably like I had to keep fixing up. Or making the money better.
Yeah, okay. So for some reason or another, there was money, and then there was a behaviour that resulted in there being not money there.
Yeah.
And you were blaming him for that.
Yeah. And I wasn't I wasn't looking at it like I was in there too. Like, I wasn't like separate. I was part of it.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I guess if you really the fact is I'm responsible for what happened there, and that's it. But if you want to delve into it a bit deeper, is I just got that I let it happen.
Yeah, and share with us, like, how did you let it happen? Was it because you went and fixed it up?
Yeah, I would constantly fix it, or I would just be like, it's all good.
Yeah, so you'd kind of be like ignorant or resigned about it.
Enabled.
Yeah.
Really good enabler over here.
Yeah.
Very good. Still working on that, by the way. But just enabled and maybe didn't like take it very seriously. Just thought it'll work out.
Yeah, like a bit ignorant, like, oh, it's not that bad, or like, I love them. They'll get out of it eventually.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the really nice front that people put on, right? They sort of give, especially when you're in intimate relationships, people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Right. Which lets you get off the hook, which means lets you not take responsibility for the fact that
for my friggin' life.
That doesn't work. We're in a partnership here, and money is going out the door in a way that it shouldn't be, or the way that we didn't agree for it to be. And by you going and cleaning it back up again and restoring it and kind of fed it,
Yeah,
like
100%.
Especially if you did it multiple times, you're training that person to be like, oh, this is okay.
But then I would then blame them as well, even though I was letting it happen. So doing that did nothing for me. It does nothing for me, and fit like being that way even afterwards and being angry about it or blaming them, it does fucking nothing.
Yeah,
It does not help me. It does not resolve anything. It does not make me feel better, or it doesn't do anything. It just...
Well, it doesn't do nothing. It doesn't give you power, right? It doesn't.
Yeah, sorry.
So
yes,
what does
yes.
it actually do? Like, what was your experience of life whilst you were blaming him for that before you got that you were responsible?
Like powerless and angry and like maybe disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But definitely not taking it on as something like I could change or have a different experience with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so when you... Can you take yourself back to that moment? You've been blaming him and then you finally get, oh, right, I was the one that, like, that assisted in that. What was that like for you?
I think it's actually like peace. Like even now, like thinking about it, it just feels like peace, like nothing. Like actually nothing, not what I've said before. Like actually being nothing
like
there.
there's a clear space there.
Yeah. There's just a space to be. There's nothing there. And there's no anger at myself either. I'm not mad at myself because it is what it is. And it happened.
It happened in the past. There's nothing you can do about it.
But I can move on. And I can like let it go and make sure that it doesn't impact me in my new relationship or in any relationship, even with you, Britt, or somebody else. Like just making sure that it stops there.
Yeah.
Stops. My past has stopped now and it's not going to come into the future. And if I didn't take on being cause in the matter or being responsible for my own relationship ending, it still would be here with me in the space, right?
Yeah.
And you can't, if you don't deal with your past or get responsible for it, like we're talking about today with being responsible, it will keep coming at you in so many other ways. And then it just impacts your life in more ways than you want, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's really, really cool what you've shared there. I think a lot of people will be able to relate to having those feelings of frustration, anger, resentment towards someone and their behaviour and want to blame them for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Really, really cool. Awesome. Now, sometimes when we don't take responsibility for things, as you said, it can keep like impacting you, like today. How was it showing up in your life today before you got responsible for it? Because it could seem unrelated, right?
Probably trust. Bit of trust issues there, like trusting someone with money management.
Yeah.
Or joint bank accounts or stuff like that. Or
yeah, because you're in a relationship now, right?
Yeah, like I don't want to share. Like there's a bit there around that.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot around like I got to do it all by myself.
Yeah, because you don't want to have that happen again.
Yeah, like it's all on me. But it's all on me, and it comes up still, and I don't let it. I've learnt to just not listen to it. Like, no, that's not happening here.
Yeah. That's the piece of the past. That's actually not what's happening now.
Yeah, let's look at what the facts are of today, not whatever. So
some experience from the past. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool. So what is it like in your relationship now with money? Have you had some conversations around it?
Constant conversations. It's always a constant ongoing. Life is like constantly changing and adapting, and situations do the same, and money as being one of them is, I think it's a massive topic for people. But yeah, it's just taking a breath when I can see those things coming up, and just looking at the facts and getting back to just taking a moment. It's okay to have a moment.
Yeah.
and just like really look at what is actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But also sharing my experiences and obviously letting the other person be aware of, hey, this could come up sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
So did you let your partner know, like, that's what happened in the past? And
Yeah. Very
and
aware.
what
very
is it
aware.
like now when you talk about money?
Yeah.
What is it like?
What is it? It's very open.
Yeah.
It's very like on the same page. It's still semi-separate.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm okay. You know, we're both okay with that. But we're also then building it together at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's a middle ground of being independent, but also having it together.
Yeah.
But you know, that can change again and change and transform into something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you get to be responsible for it all now.
Yeah.
So it seems like an opportunity to build something together.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's just stepping over that fear sometimes and that.
Well, yeah. Just getting.
The old stuff.
Yeah. Leave it behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look, Taylor, I acknowledge you for sharing what you shared today about being responsible,
Thanks.
especially around money and your relationship, because those two things are like really sensitive. So, yeah, thank you so much.
That's okay. Thank you, Britt. So thank you everyone for listening and have fun with sharing what you've gotten for yourself out of listening. Our goal is for our content to reach as many people as possible and become the #1 podcast in Australia. So please subscribe, share, and leave a review. And we'll see you next time.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.